There's a legal age for everything when tradition occults its time, especially when history made of its passing an elemental designator of its find. What was made then an appreciation to conceal of its creation an imaginary redemption of a symbolic network ascertained no longer of the substance qua premier of its primacy, its primitive design for its elemental state, what secondary nature orients towards the characteristic traits inside what from Jung to Dung was encoded in the symbolic network of cattle mutilation. What could enlightenment have made of Alex Gray's tormentous coloring of the optical landscapes? What is here written is an old text that was rather associatively amalgamated and constitutes an early cringe factor of a young child with his explorer's cap on, thinking to himself, how, after having listened to the Bible, perhaps I could find more extensive criteria invoking God's capacity in what had been occulted previously in man as his godlike magical origin. Marijuana makes me happy. Salvia shows me how to deal with what is sad. In the midst of both a psychedelic trip and awareness made of habits, I move along the earth terrain with a heart filled with gratitude for being human, and therefore having the opportunity to play with the dial of my own consciousness. From pod to mushrooms, from mushrooms to acid, from acid to ephedrine, from ephedrine to cough syrup, from cough syrup to salvia, from salvia to ecstasy, and from ecstasy to speed, all of the elements of a personality that have now made of their elemental design states of amalgamated presence where the substance qua primacy is not needed for its destitutive imagery to compel its ascertaining descriptive reside. Gateway drugs indeed, a manipulation of consciousness to the in-between, between two walls perhaps, would be an interesting resume to have impelled the reason to orient its listening when that time is used. Lethargic stimulation wins the game. Heart palpitations, excitement, marijuana, move out, grow me, and make money. But these were only invalid premises to be seen to what capitalism could orient in its future, where the legality of its choice could now make a grower in Canada responsible for the medicated charge given contractual attribution to what could have been made of a medical patient contributor to a valid license, given that his taxes are paid and all workers' guides in the state could have been contrived in the initial game of what gives the gold rustling tendencies of a simple herb, the value of the industry it has attained today in terms of what makes it comparable to grains, and yet on price level comparison, a gold-like materiality of agency swallowed up in the smoke puffing instant of what could perhaps diminish its value in order to accord it with the consumers of its age, where inflation of its consumption wouldn't have to be based on the increasing value of its potential, where contributors equal purchasers and purchasers equal the worth in conjunction with the need that its demand balances out in response to its tributary reach. What would it be then of those asking for a flute to pipe of its smoke, to write of the words that it shared, resuming no more than an invalid adventurer, house gone, mom seemingly lonely, as any giver of the womb could be, where not my problem couldn't yet see what was still my care, to replete now, endearing the acting out towards its belief. I'm built with guilt, or was back then, filled with sins to give desire its admission. My awareness of what is within stinks, donkey, prick. I'm tired, just like the prick on the sleeve of Rapunzel's weaving stories. At least it was a biography and not an empty shell. I just want to go to bed, I thought. My heart hurts, and so does my throat, thinking such lies and tormentous seems. What does going to bed want of staying up, so it conceives demons among me, built of the most wise, left out of the throne. I see it on my paper, from the lesser key of Solomon, or were the summoning sigils that were first oriented towards a drawing so as to play out in their agent-like voice a response towards the original, a question in which the soul-seeking unconscious resides its answer towards the primordial in terms of a consecutive chain that insists on the original. Hello, Azrael. Who am I? Let us say it clearly, for now your mind isn't lost yet. Let us say it again. Let. And that's the end of the first part of this text. Its secondary consequence will be picked up in a non-consequential chain that might at first sight be difficult to reorient in its pairing.